Hello, welcome to another toneless landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called, what it is a study after John Francis Murphy's painting Spring. He has a lot of paintings named Spring. Um, yeah, it's more of a cover song or like a cover. I don't know. We have in music we have the word cover song. I don't know. We don't have anything similar, but I'm jamming. I'm jamming on Murphy's painting. Um, he had just this plain white sky. Actually, you can see all that very clearly in the members area, where I discuss what I did and why, as far as popping in some sort of sky in there. I didn't go like sunsetty or anything. I just kind of put a blue sky with some clouds, and actually that'd be pretty cool too in the members area if you're into painting that kind of sky. Some good tips and pointers there, and I'm going to try and give you some tips and pointers here today in this 15-minute version. Oops, someone's revving up their car outside. Um, yeah, so I basically just swapped out the sky. Now this is what from Old John would have been what we call a bit of a pot boiler. So a painting that he did just to put a chicken in the pot, so to speak. And this is one of the things that kind of negatively impacted his art career. But I believe there was quite a economic depression in the United States, or specifically, I think he lived in New York State. Don't go. I'm not a historian, so this is off the top of my head. But either way, there was economic depression. He had to feed his family. He was doing these quick paintings, a lot of which looked very similar to each other. And I've done a riff on another one of these before. That one ended up turning into a golden sunset, just with glazing, magic glazing. You can find that in the channel. I mean, you could probably put John Francis Murphy into the search in the channel and get there. Anyway, I needed to do something, and I knew I could do this pretty quickly. It's very, very loose, and that's a real challenge sometimes. Doing studies after artists that have done a loose painting can be a real challenge because, they just flicked their wrist and had a flicked their wrist, and they had a stroke that looked like a bush or a tree or whatever. Whereas when you're making a copy after their work, you can't just flick your wrist, but yet you're trying to get the flicky approach, right? My advice to you, and I'm sure you should be running into this, because if you're not making studies after the masters, of whatever type, sure, you're just riffing like I am here. I don't care how faithful it is. It's not like I live in some village in China or whatever where I have to, make copies after paintings for 20 bucks or whatever. I'm just riffing. I'm riffing on John, so it doesn't have to be an exact copy. But anyway, so you need to make a decision when you're making your study. And my advice to you is always make the decision to just flick your wrist in approximately the same area with approximately a similar color, and then move on. Keep the whole thing fresh, because when I've seen so many people starting out in painting make studies after paintings, and because they're starting out, everything tightens up because they're getting stiff. It's, does that need to be in there? Does that not need to be in there? You need to learn to just relax a little, and it's better to get it wrong with landscape painting in a fresh way than to get it right in a stiff way. And I've talked about this on the channel lots of times. And this is the kind of thing discussing in the members area as well. By the way, I'll be popping this in my store. A good little price on this one. I think I'll probably do like I don't know, maybe 200. Let's just see if somebody wants to have it. It went pretty, it's not a major, well, basically, like I've just been saying, it's exercise in freshness, So and there's all kinds of paintings you're going to set up and want to do. Some are going to be real structured and major statements, you know, like you have this amazing bit of reference you took, and you want it to be a certain color and way and size, and have a certain presence and stuff. You're not just going to toss that off, you know. But you should definitely, even when you're doing work like that, you should be moving rapidly through the whole process, you know. And a fresh result, like, okay, that's the other thing. This painting is called Spring. Would Spring, a painting called Spring, be full of a bunch of pedantic, overworked brush strokes in dull color, you know? Granted, this color is still toneless color, so it's not like impressionist color, but you know, it's a blue sky, it's a green field. One of the things that attracted me to his painting was like these really bright yet awesome greens. So, you know, that's not something I could lay on you. We're like 5-6 minutes in here. You're looking for tips. Greens, right? So you see those bright greens. You're painting either outdoors or in the studio. You see them. You go, I want to get those greens in. You say, oh, I'm going to squeeze out some of this phthalo green, and oh, that's so dark. Let's see, let's add some yellow to it, and that is not going to be a very workable green, especially if, heaven help you, one of these modern painting teachers has come along and told you that you shouldn't be using black, because the real solution to that dilemma would be to pop in some black and start getting some complexity in there. But another thing you could do, you could get away with no black. What I would do in a situation like that is maybe throw in some alizarin crimson or some burnt sienna. You start chucking reds in. Now, you don't always need to add a lot. What you really need to do is dial down the complexity. Now, I wouldn't even recommend ever, by the way, ever mixing a green from phthalo green and some kind of yellow, you know, unless you have a little highlight or you're painting like a toy or something, because that green is going to be really, really fake looking. The best greens are greens that start from a natural basis. So the green that sits on my palette, which I should mention, I'm going to push that members area because, you know, it's only $6 anyway. The best green is acrylite yellow and black. And that's the keys to the kingdom, and that comes to you for free. You don't even need to join the members area, but you start with that as a basis. You get this kind of it's a really beautiful green. That's a very natural green. And then what you do is you push that. You can add some of your phthalo to that if you want to go cool, you know, or you could add some yellow to that if you want to get the sort of greens that maybe we're going to have in the lawn part of this painting here, or grass. It's not a lawn, you know, whatever. Even with that green, the first thing I do usually when I'm mixing the colors, just start chucking red in, just start shoveling it in. You'd be amazed how many colors you perceive as green are really so full of red that it's not even funny. And I'm not a like academic type color theorist, but I'm very good with color, and I understand color, and I know how to get the colors I want. So I have an internal color theory that works very well for me, and all of us need to come up with our own basic internal color theory. One thing I really don't recommend is like following like the Munsell system or something like that. So even someone like Schmid, Richard Schmid, who's a genius painter. His palette doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but he has a color system and it makes sense to him. A lot of painters do, and they try to teach it. You don't see me doing that for a very simple reason. I would encourage you to start with a very basic palette and start mixing colors. You know, really all you need is secondary, tertiary color theory and complementary color theory. That's all the theory you need. So the first one is, you know, blue and yellow make green, you know, red and blue make purple, right? Yellow and red make orange, and then that gives you your 6 colors, right? From there, the complementaries cancel out, sort of cancel out. That's a bit more complicated of an idea than just canceling, but you can think of it that way because Complementary to blue is orange. So when you mix orange into blue, you get a brown. And sometimes in the computer screen, you can get it gray. You can cancel it out. It's a gray brown. And what's the difference between brown and gray? Who knows? That's going to be a real world deal as you're painting. But complementary to purple is yellow. Now, these two you mix together all the time to make a lot of beautiful colors, especially in skies, right? What I was kind of to touch off about this, the complementary to green is red. Now, and when you cancel these out, what you get brown, right? And what colors do we see everywhere in nature? We see brown and green and gray, right? So, oh, you can see me laying those greens in now. It was really fun. I had to get, you know what, I'll give you a slice of my studio life. I had to get out of my studio's in a public art center, and they were having a studio holders meeting, which I knew was going to be factious. I didn't want to attend, so I was really hustling on this to get this painting done, so that I would be gone before the meeting started. Which is good, because it's just making my point earlier in the video. I knew that if you look at his painting, he didn't overwork anything. He was doing this to get a chicken in the pot. And in a sense, I am too. I needed video for my channel that I thought was fresh and attractive. I wanted to do something where I could talk about doing fresh work. It has almost a modern approach to it in the brushwork. A lot of like those little bits in the trees and things. I'm not exactly where he's at, but I got all the big bits in, and actually I could see why this would be a good pot boiler, because it's got a little homestead in there. It's got a tree. It looks like it could be somebody's yard, and I thought a good addition was the blue sky with the clouds, because I thought that would back up the whole spring thing with the greens. And so I do think it's attractive painting. I'm putting this in a store, and it's 8x10 as well, so if you get this, man, you can get some awesome 8x10 frames out there, really, that are ready-made, so you don't have the expense of the custom framing or anything, which is cool. And the good thing, actually, geez, we're at the end of the video. I'm trying to give you a lot of information today. When you're looking at sizes to work, don't just grab like random boards. I was talking to, I'm taking on a new student that I'm mentoring, and I was giving her the big rundown on this. It's like, work in stock sizes so that people can, either you can pop things in little ready-made frames, or people that buy your work, you can say when they buy something, it's like, hey, you don't have to take this to a custom framer, which even out here in New Zealand is outrageously expensive. But even in the States, I was a custom framer in my 20s, and even then it was expensive. Now I'm sure it's even more. Custom framing costs a lot of money, so working sizes like 5x7, 6x8, or in the smaller end, let me not skip them, 3.5x5, 4x6 inches, right? 5x7, 6x8, I'll just go up in size for you, 8x10. From there, you can get away with 9x12 quite a lot. Some people really like that size too. 11x14, 12x16, 16x20, 18x24. And 2024 can be a stock size. From there, things get a little weird, but 24x36 is almost always a stock size. Anyway, getting back to the painting, we got just 1 minute here. He had these little flicks and stuff, and this is something I was talking about at the beginning of the painting. I want to get him in the right spot and the right way, but like I said, it's better to make a flick or a stroke in approximately the right spot, in approximately the right quantity, with approximately the right color, and do the whole thing with the right intent, and it'll look great. Anyway, end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until I come back with another video, I'd really appreciate it if you take care of yourself, take care of your family, all your loved ones. Try and be patient with people that have views that differ from your own. You never know They may know something you don't. You know, you don't know everything. And we all have to be patient with each other. These are trying times. So, patient, loving, love your enemies. Look after your family. It's easy to love your family, but definitely more of a challenge to love your enemies. And until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, all your loved ones. Love your enemies. And stay out of trouble. God bless.